on time. Just very briefly, here's how we will do the rest of the evening. We will induct the class of 2020 first, alphabetically, and then we will do the class of 2021 alphabetically. Here's how it goes. I will read the person's name who's going to be inducted. I'll then do an introduction, and while the introduction while I'm giving the introduction, the slideshow that the inductee gave to Paula will run on the two screens, one back there and one behind me. So, am I sure? Bill Gilbert always has to do that. Hey, everybody else. Everybody knows. Oh, was it Myron? Oh, it was Myron. Anyway, inductee, we ask that you stay at your table, watch your show. When the show is finished, your picture will stay up, and I will call you up to the podium. And those of you that are here, a committee member will meet you, put a medallion around your neck, and then you may have no more than 5 minutes. And inducting 16 people, we really need to hold you to the 5. So if you go over the 5, I may have to tap you, or Nancy Gilbert may have to tap you on your shoulder. Okay, here we go. Next inductee, Charles Bidwell. Charles Bidwell graduated from Orville High School in 1938. Played football all 4 years. Following graduation, Charles served in the United States Army Air Corps during World War II, attending Signal Corps Radio School, and was a radio operator in the Philippines. He also served in the Pacific Area Installation, doing operation maintenance on AM/FM radio equipment and diesel-electric plants, and was honorably discharged as a sergeant in 1945. Upon returning to Oroville after World War II, Charles went to work for Western Pacific Railroad for 20 years, where he was a troubleshooter inspecting and maintaining diesel-electric locomotives and other railroad equipment. He then went to work for Oro Dam Constructors on the construction of the Oroville Dam, operating, servicing, and supervising and maintenance of diesel locomotives and railroad equipment. In 1967, Charles went to work on the largest hydroelectric power plant in New Zealand. He then served 2 years as a general maintenance for Morrison Knudsen in Boise, Idaho, supervising 250 men. Later, he returned to Peru, serving as a master mechanic in the railroad shop, supervising 450 men for a floor company. His work career ended in 1982 when he retired from Pacific Coast Producers in Oroville. Charles had an extensive record of public service in his beloved Palermo. He was chairman of the Palermo Community Swimming Pool Fund, raising and building community that helped build and design and build the Palermo swimming pool. He was a member of the Palermo Improvement Club, the Boy Scout leader for 5 years, even though he fathered 4 daughters and no sons. He also served as a trustee of the Palermo School District for 15 years, 3 of those as president, and was a founding member of the Palermo Fire Department, volunteer fire department. As a member of the Palermo Improvement Club, he spent countless numbers of hours working on community dinners, dances, Easter egg hunts, and building the shower and locker rooms and bathrooms at the new swimming pool. Charles was a member of the Masonic Order of the United States and New Zealand, Knights Templar, Royal and Select, and Shriner Ben Ali Temple. In 1965, he was recognized by the California Congress of PTA with honorary lifetime membership. Charles passed away in 1989 at age 69. He is survived by a daughter, Noni, also a 2020 Hall of Fame inductee, a daughter, Charlene Parker, 10 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandsons. Please welcome Kyle Buis, who will accept induction for his grandfather into the Hall of Fame, class of 2020.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for coming out here tonight, and to thank those of you who will be watching this later on the recording. It's wonderful to have an opportunity to enshrine twice as many people tonight and to hear about all the good work so many people have done here over the years. Tonight I have the honor of presenting my grandpa, Charles Horace Bidwell, for his induction. He's not with us physically tonight. He passed away in 1989, but he's with us in spirit. I'm the youngest in my family, and despite a few gray hairs here and there, you can probably guess I didn't get to spend a lot of time with him. He was gone before I turned 4, but when you're the youngest, you get to hear all the stories and pass them on. Like the one when I found out my grandpa and I had something in common. He worked for years as an electrician with the railroads. He worked on the Orville Dam in Peru and New Zealand, even wired the house where I grew up in. He was very good at being an electrician. I've installed a ceiling fan. That's not the thing that we have in common. One day, he went to the doctor's office, and they did an eye test. It's that one where there's a hidden pattern and a bunch of different, it's a hidden pattern of the dots. If you see it, it's a colorblind test. If you can see it, great. If you can't, well, you've got some degree of colorblindness. My grandma could see it just fine. Grandpa, not so much. He was red-green colorblind, or in electrical wiring terms, hot wire, ground wire colorblind. It's not the kind of news someone just starting out as an electrician would want to hear. It's definitely not the news you want to hear in your 50s, well into your career at that point. Maybe if he found out about this sooner, he would have chosen a different path. But instead, he did all the things you can read about in your program. What's not in there, though, are the little things. How he did take your daughter to work day before it was a thing, so his girls could see what their dad did for a living on the rail yards. Or even with a house full of girls, he was still a big supporter of the Orville High School football team. I just want to say that the curse passed along there. My mom, 4 boys. Or how he worked to make sure to get a train engine donated to a nearby high school for students to train on a train. Education was incredibly important to Grandpa. He served for many years on the Palermo Board of Trustees. When the community worked to get a pool, there were spaghetti dinners to raise the money for the pool. Then there was the digging and the building the structures all around it. You saw some of the pictures earlier. He was involved every step of the way. When a project took him to New Zealand during my mom's senior year of high school, they offered for her to come along and finish at a New Zealand school. I'm sure the New Zealand school system is fine, but let's face it, doesn't match what we have up here. They didn't want to uproot her during a critical time in her life. One of my girls graduated in 2020, and with COVID and all, there were a lot of experiences that she had missed out on, dances, just graduation experiences. But unlike COVID, my grandpa had someone he could negotiate with. So in the end, she ended up graduating with the Las Plumas High School class of 1968, and the company flew her out later on to join my grandma and grandpa. I'm going to close this with a simple piece of advice from my grandpa. If someone's offering you training, take it. Never stop learning. You never know what doors it can open up for you in the future. Thank you, and congratulations again to all of tonight's honorees.